So we'll go out of sequence a little bit with that one. Okay. So with that, we'll get right into some standard business today. First, regarding the minutes from the January 13th meeting, are there any questions or concerns over those minutes from the board?
I mean, the only thing I I have is that down towards the bottom where regarding the Auctions International amount, I stated that the total amount of sales was $11,345.65. That amount is correct, but I just want to state that it will be a little bit less because they still have to charge us for coming down to do the photo shoots for taking pictures of vehicles. So that it will be a little less than that amount.
Okay, but the minutes are correct. We just
Yes.
need to make sure that the board understands it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other issues or corrections to the minutes?
No.
Nope.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the January 13th minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I got Ricky. And
Yeah.
Gail second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. Questions, concerns over the vouchers?
No.
And I sent you one, MJ, had I sent you that policing training voucher earlier, or was that the first time I sent it to you tonight?
No, you did send it. I remember seeing it. I don't know whether it got paper clipped to something else or what, but I'll
Okay.
set it up if, for the next meeting if you want, or.
Okay,
you
that's
know.
perfect. All right, so it's not in the vouchers today. All right, are there any questions or concerns over the vouchers? I think we had some no's.
No.
All right. Would
No.
anyone like to make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented?
I will. Oh.
Amy,
I'll second.
Rob? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carry. Sorry, I say opposed because I can't see you guys all at once. So just making sure that I can't tell that it's unanimous all the time. So. Okay. Is this right? MJ, this says February 13th. I thought I had it at the 10th from the emails we were sharing before.
It is. She sent another one. There's a corrected,
Oh, did
Yeah,
print the
I
new
had
agenda?
resent one. Yeah, there's an
Okay.
amended agenda.
Is there anything else on that agenda that do I need to print the new agenda?
No,
then?
that's the only thing. I was working on the 13th and then I messed up, so,
All right, so that should read the 10th, correct?
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a resolution to do what we discussed about holding the public hearing on the 10th. Be it resolved that the village board authorizes holding a public hearing on February 10th, 2021 at 6:30 PM to provide further information about the CDBG grant program and grant application that we will be submitting for the amount of $50,000 for the purpose of planning for infrastructure improvements. And we already have that. We can put that all up on the website this week, right?
Which,
There are some, essentially some, I don't know if they're resolutions or laws. They should only be resolutions, right, MJ? That Delaware sent us that we need to approve?
Yeah, I think I forwarded them, but I think right now there's just a resolution to go forward with that application that needs to be passed at the next meeting after the public hearing.
Okay, and I've got some info on CDBG grants that we can post as well if anyone's interested in specifically what they are. So we'll make sure we get that to you.
send that on over.
Okay. Questions on that? Issues with that? Everyone's okay with doing an off-cycle public hearing to cover that?
I hope so.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the public hearing on February 10th?
I
Oh,
will.
I got Gail,
The latency.
just because that's where I was looking. Can I get a second?
Second it.
Ricky? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carries. Thank you.
Now, would this still be on Zoom, this public hearing, or would you have to go someplace to
I
have
was
it?
going to talk about that towards the end. As it stands right now, it'll still be Zoom. The numbers are coming down. So right now we'll plan on Zoom, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the meeting, Ricky. We can
Okay,
discuss that.
okay.
Where we think our threshold is, if you will, for it. Okay. All right, MJ, you want to talk about this one a little bit? We looked at this last time, didn't we? We wanted to read through it, right? MJ, you're muted.
Here I am.
There you go.
Okay. It was tabled the last time,
Yep.
and I spent some time over the last couple of weeks, looking through the document to see what the changes were as they, as for village records. And I don't see any changes. I mean, basically vouchers, 7 years, payroll forever. Most of the changes don't apply to the village. So with that being said, the state is mandating that villages, towns, courts, whatever, have to pass this resolution to use this new document, which basically encompasses everything, whereas before it was documents for each particular municipality or village, town, court, whatever. So it doesn't look like there's really any big changes for us. So
Okay.
I would
And we don't
suggest
need to
just
purchase
passing
any
it and
software to
sending
do it. Our
no.
1970s computers will be able to hack it.
Yep,
All right.
you bet. A shredder will take care of it.
Excellent. Questions or concerns over this for any of the board members?
No,
Mm-mm.
All right, so I won't read the whole thing here, maybe I will. So this is to resolve to accept the disposition and retention schedule in accordance with Article 57A. Further resolve that we'll follow that retention record and dispose of records appropriately. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I will. Amy.
Second it.
Rob, second. All in favor?
He's afraid.
aye.
Opposed? No carries. All right. Bear with me a sec here. Let me get to my correspondence. Okay, first correspondence is just the $85 that we get from the town courts.
And that's $35.
$135 and $150.
Oh, I didn't see the $50 one. There it is.
Okay, questions? Is Anthony on?
No.
I thought we had fire chief, didn't we? Okay.
Yeah.
So Rob, the next one is just chips. We had talked about this, I think, a month ago. I just want to make sure that all our paperwork is done for it. If you could just confirm that we're all set with all the chips paperwork.
Okay,
I think we talked about it a month ago. It's just want to verify.
okay. Anthony usually takes care of that part.
Yeah, I know. I know I shouldn't have to worry about it. I like to hear that it's taken care of.
Yeah, all right, no problem. Okay. I'll reach out for him.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next one's another Hecate sighting. This is a meeting, procedural conference on January 29th at 10:30 in the morning, I believe. And it's just directions on how to access that conference if you're interested. Oops, I went out of order there, sorry. That was number 4. Number 3 is a policy change, and MJ, I was hoping you could tell me who this applies to. As far
That is
as,
that's the paid family leave act policy. So the deduction for employees goes up a little bit, and some of the benefits do as well change. And basically that's letters just letting you know that.
okay. Okay, so which employees does that apply to? Is it all village employees?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, questions on that? Anyone else have a question on that one? It's going to be got a couple of topics to discuss here. We're moving very quickly through this meeting. Okay, so we'll get into some new business here. So first, resolution of the implementation committee, and here's where I'll start with board members for discussion, then I will open it up for any public comments on this, because I know we did receive some of the stuff. We did make some changes. Amy, you want to go over the changes that were made recently?
Yeah, one minor thing, we changed it from commission to committee. The section about, hold on, let me just go in order.
I'll just touch real quickly, Amy,
Yeah,
that the town has not yet adopted the comprehensive plan.
yeah,
They don't have, they're holding because they don't have an attorney. So it is yet to be adopted by the town. So that affected some of what was in there.
yeah. So this is just specific to the village, as it was, I believe, the first time. We talked about adding in the town, but since they haven't adopted it, we decided we're just gonna keep on trucking as the village. The other thing, I only have the new one in front of me. We took out the word founding from the chair and the members, just to state that it'll have a chair and members appointed at the time of adoption. And then with the part about, I can't remember what the language was before about people could be dismissed for behavior.
I think I had written meeting, an excessive number of
Yeah.
meetings or unruly conduct or something to that effect.
It was, so we just changed it to say, serve at the pleasure of the board. So, I mean, if there is an issue with someone, obviously we would discuss it as a board and then go into like an executive session or something and deal with it in that way as a
Sally, are
board.
you comfortable with that? Because you were part of the discussion about the grounds for dismissal, et cetera.
Yeah, and that's fine, because this is not really a statutory committee, for the planning board or the ZBA, that'd be, then there's sort of a vested interest. Once you're appointed, you're appointed.
Mhm.
But for this committee or commission, serving at the pleasure of the board is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
At the bottom, we added in that there should be a liaison to this committee, assigned by the mayor. Is that all that I did? I feel like I need to get the original one up. Meeting times and durations.
Was there
okay.
something in there? Oh, no, we were talking about joint chair, but that was never in there.
Yeah,
right?
we were talking about doing co-chairs if the town was going to be a part of this, but since they haven't adopted it,
Okay.
they're, it's a moot point. Let me find the original one just to see if I'm missing anything, but I mean, if anyone has comments on it on the board, that would be great, because
Any other comments from board members?
The only question I have, if this were to get passed, what's this supposed to accomplish? Is this supposed to make it where we're bound by the
Oh,
comprehensive?
absolutely
plan?
not. No, it's always our decisions on what actions we take.
Mhm.
This is to help get the work done, essentially, to keep us moving along that comprehensive plan and keep us moving essentially by helping to do some of the work, write some of the, if there's laws that need to be written, that kind of stuff. It's to do some of the grunt work essentially, so we keep it moving.
yeah, it specifically says under 11A, it's just advising, and that's why I added in working with a liaison, so that there'll always be someone from the board, at least in the know about what's going on, and then all they do is advise. Oh, are you screen sharing again?
Look at that.
you.
I learned something new. I got
Look at you.
So
So
here are
they
the
would just
responsibilities,
advise us.
Rob, just so you can see. It's advise the board and the mayor. Propose language in consultation, just proposing language for zoning changes, identifying external sources of funding for implementation, so looking for other grants. They cannot apply for grants. It's still up to the board. referring for board consideration information about programs and opportunities, consistent, and then any other tasks assigned by the mayor. Make sense?
It doesn't bind us to anything specific to the comprehensive plan. The members of the board will still have final say in that, it depends on who's on the board. And I think the main goal of this, correct me if I'm wrong, would be to identify what our priorities should be based on that plan, but they would just come to us with it. Correct?
That's right. Any other comments or concerns? Okay, I'll open it
Sounds like
up
dog.
for any public
The
comments or
dog the
concerns.
dog doesn't like it.
See
If
what your
anyone else
dog
on the meeting
started?
wants to make any comments regarding it?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Since the town hasn't adopted it, is the intention of this committee to just put through those things from the comprehensive plan that affect the village only?
That's right. That would be correct for now. This is a village implementation committee.
Okay, and then as far as appointing members, are the members of the steering committee going to be, like, is this a continuation of the steering committee? Since the steering committee is already,
Necessarily an implementation of the steering committee. Amy and I have some names that we'll go through. Several of them are from the steering committee, but we would like to get some outside influence as well.
yeah,
So we've
Okay.
got some names that we'll talk to here. Once we get this done, we'll start reaching out to some folks.
okay,
I think several of them most of the people were on the steering committee that we discussed, yeah?
Most were, yeah.
okay. That was it.
Anyone else?
Oh.
Okay.
Stefan, hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank the board for doing this. As you know, I did lead the steering committee, and we came up with this comprehensive plan that your board adopted last month. And one of the themes that was said over and over again consistently was, let's not let this end up being a plan that sits on the shelf. So people did want an implementation committee. And it's just very exciting for those of us who were on the steering committee to see your board putting together or moving toward creating an implementation committee, because we do feel, as you say, that it would be helpful for a group of volunteers to the board members are very busy covering a lot of territory. This would be a committee that would have just the single goal to kind of help, advise, assist with the priorities of the board that are in the comprehensive plan. So I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the steering committee that I did lead last year.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, so would anyone like to make a resolution to, what would it be, essentially to appoint or to create a comprehensive plan implementation committee per the resolution as read, as reviewed?
I'll offer that.
Gail,
I'll second it.
Amy, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Do you want to
Okay.
talk about it?
We had a comprehensive plan back in 2007. I just don't think we need to attach this to it. I mean, an updated one.
Well, we already approved the update, right, Rob?
Yeah,
This
we
isn't-
proved it. I voted in favor of the comprehensive plan mainly because it allows us to become more eligible for grant money in the future with the state, but I just don't think that we need, my personal opinion, I don't think we need this committee to be attached to this comprehensive plan.
Okay,
Can I say? The other comprehensive plan sat on a shelf and nothing was done. This committee would try to make sure that what was discussed in the comprehensive plan, that some of the actions do get done. And that's basically all the committee is for. That's my understanding.
that's right. Okay, so we did vote and it passed 3-2. What I would say, Rob and Ricky, is what I'd like is give me some names. If you think there's people that you want to see participate in it, I'd be happy to make sure we get, we take recommendations from the entire board to make sure that we keep the committee well-rounded and representing everybody.
Mhm.
I think we got enough committees already. We don't need more committees.
Understood. We already voted. It did pass. So we're going to set up the committee. I just want to make sure that it gets represented by everybody. Okay, so if you've got recommendations on who you want on it, please send them to me.
Are we able to see this list of who already submitted names?
I will send it out. I'll send it out.
Yeah, we still have to vote to approve
Yep,
the
we've got to
members of the
vote on the
committee.
names.
Mhm.
So if we vote no, they won't be on the board.
If you vote somebody, yeah,
Yes.
they won't be on the committee if they don't get passed through the board.
Okay.
I will see how that turns out.
I have one more question.
Is
Is this gonna be offered to the public? And the reason I'm asking is because the comprehensive plan came from public input. And I just think that that same audience should be offered a right to have a review of this instead of just, a few people.
A review of whether or not to have an implementation committee,
Or even to just, to be part of this.
to be part of it.
Yeah, to be included in it. It was all of the village and town that responded to the survey, and it's their comments that formed the comprehensive plan. So it seems like the people that created the comprehensive plan are getting cut out somehow in forming this committee. Does that make sense?
I mean, it
Yeah, I
sounds like to
understand.
me that it's going to be a combination as the mayor and Amy mentioned, that it'll be members of the steering committee. And then some options will be put forth from the public. So it sounds like the goal is to try to have a blend of both, if I'm
That's what I would-
following it. If I'm following the mayor on that.
That's
And
that's
also
what I was saying. James.
technically- Stefan,
Mhm.
technically, this meeting this evening is the public introduction and last meeting. So, I mean, unless the board is planning to hold a public hearing or to discuss this at a third meeting, the idea.
No, I think the question is, do we go out
Yeah,
broadly for volunteers? Ultimately, regardless of how we go about getting the names for the list, I want to get them approved here, either the next meeting or the following.
yeah, because if this is technically a public. Well, if this is-
Volunteers
I'm
via Facebook and whatnot. I don't know that it reaches a whole significantly different population. What do we think? What do the board members think?
I just want to qualify. I mean, if this is technically a public hearing,
It is not.
It's not.
right, because nobody knew about it, until the agenda was published. So that's not public.
If I may, I understand that there's things in the comprehensive plan that we don't all agree with. There's things in the comprehensive plan that I don't agree with. But the point of this would be to review, to find opportunities to do things that are in there and bring them to the board, which would in turn bring them back to the community, if I'm not
Exactly.
mistaken.
Yeah,
Anything that we would do that comes from that would not just come to this board, but we would have to have public input yet again. We would have
That's true.
hearings, we could have informal discussions like this. And I don't see that there's much harm in forming the committee to at least explore these options. You know, if somebody comes and they have something that three of us are like, that idea, it doesn't work. We didn't, you know, we're not on board with that. We're going to vote it down. Then it gets voted down. If somebody brings something in that is, you know, well, wow, you know, everybody seems to be cool with this. Let's have a public hearing. Let's see how it goes. You know, and for me, I like to hear from as many people as possible when we're trying to make these decisions for the community. And it is only 5 of us on the board. So I don't really see the harm in getting people involved. I would love to see a good cross section of our community, different ideas, different opinions, different walks of life. And we have that here. So I think we can capitalize on that. And, you know, the things that are in the plan that are pie in the sky probably will never happen. I mean, whoever is on the board will get a vote and it'll be public hearings. So I just, I'm not sure if everybody's getting that this is not a set in stone.
yeah. No, I think the question was, do we go out via Facebook or via other means like that, and request and see if people are interested, see who's interested in volunteering to be part of the implementation committee, or do we move forward with names that we have and names that the board wants to submit?
Well, I think we could open it up a little more, but then I think what we need to do is, again, amend this resolution to have a number of people, or else it'll be untenable.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to, I think we can decide what that number is ourselves when
Okay.
we appoint the board.
It doesn't need to be written in the resolution.
No, I don't think, no.
But I mean, and then we should decide on a number of people, and we should, you know, just make sure everybody has input on that. Every board member, you know, you have somebody that you think would be great on this committee, bring them to the board, kind of thing.
Makes sense.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I think it's crucial to have the committee have people on it who are able to get along with others and who are able to commit to participating, and who are familiar with the comprehensive plan, because it needs to be a group of people who work cooperatively and quietly and productively in the background in order to be able to kind of really grease the wheels for the board to implement whatever efforts from the comprehensive plan it wishes to have. So I would encourage the board not to end up having it be like a reward or a badge of honor to be on this committee, but more to have it be people who are worker bees, practical, thoughtful, process-oriented people.
Okay. All right. So we have adopted the comprehensive plan, and I want to I think this works out to be something that works for everybody, and I want to make sure we get an implementation committee that represents, because there were over 500 people responded to the survey. We had very good turnout on involvement in both the inputs that went into the comprehensive plan and the work that went into the comprehensive plan, and I am very comfortable that it represents the community as a whole. So let's make sure that implementation committee, we're comfortable it represents the community as a whole as well.
Right.
So, that's where we are. The comprehensive plan is approved and adopted by the board. The implementation committee is approved, and we'll move forward on an implementation committee. Now let's make sure over the next 2 weeks that we get the names on there that make all of us comfortable, or as comfortable as we're going to get, that we're going to get the right work and the right effort to drive the implementation of those things the community told us they wanted done. Okay. Good. Next is lawn mowing contract. So
Oh.
MJ, that's as simple as just putting it out for bid now, right?
Yes, we should probably make a motion to put it out to bid.
Okay, there's no need for changes, I don't believe. We made some changes to it last year.
Yeah,
Hold on a second.
I think Rob had mentioned maybe extending the season a little bit because last year we got cut short a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about, Robin emailed me also, and we discussed that. It should start earlier. I mean, yeah, we started late last year because of COVID craziness, but it should start, what did you say, Rob? Mid-April?
Yeah, I talked to Anthony.
Mid-October?
He said like starting April 12th to the middle of October. We can set a date for the middle of October.
What I'd like to do, we kind of agreed on it this year. What I'd recommend is essentially their judgment on whether or not it needs to be mowed up until September. And then, with their liaison's approval post, for the last several weeks. Right, it just starts to get real expensive as we extend it, and I want to make sure it's only getting mowed if it needs it. How did that work, Rob? I mean, you were working with them, right?
No, I was.
Well,
Was it you, Amy? Were you
I was
working?
on parks. No, what we did was, I forget the end date. I believe it was the end of September or mid-September. And then what we said to Flats Brothers was that they would let us know what they thought was needed, and you and I would approve, or just to let us know so that we knew what we were in for.
Okay,
Not necessarily to approve, because if they say it needs to be mowed, I mean, I thought they did a great job.
they're very good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The other thing I
So-
wanted to talk about with that though is there a possibility at doing a multi-year contract? So
We could do option years, right, Tal? So we could do a 1-year contract with 2 option years?
Oh, yeah, you could do that. You could do it for 2 or 3 or 4, but options I think are best just because it gives you more control over as you go forward.
because then we could maybe lock somebody in that we don't have to do this every year, right?
Yep.
That's a good idea.
So how do we
All
go
right.
about doing that?
So April 12th through mid-October?
Yeah,
1-year
that's what
contract with
Anthony's
2
thought
option
was.
years. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think, I mean, just to reiterate that point is that we have had contractors who come in and do the work if it's scheduled in the contract every week, regardless of whether, we have a drought or, so I think kind of putting a kind of a monitor on that at the end of the season is a really good idea. It worked out well this past year, because they were flexible enough to listen to us. But if you get the wrong contractor in there, they're just going to mow it anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
The guys from last year were so good. They did it like every
they
time I
were,
look at the grass and say, oh, it needs to be mowed. Like the next day they were there.
yeah, they were very good.
I hope they want to do it again. So the time frame that Anthony was talking about was April 12th, mid-April to mid-October. What if like after the 3rd week of September, they just check in? Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me look at the contract again, because I know when we put it out the second time, we reworded it
Yeah.
so that was basically what it was at a certain point, they would have to check in
Yeah,
with, I think it was DPW director and,
yeah,
and so I think I'll send it out to everybody again, okay?
yeah.
And take a look, but I know we did take care of that. I can't remember how though offhand.
And then how do we do the multi-year? Do we just put that in the bid? Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so it'll be a contract for the year 2021 with options to extend the contract 2022 and 2023.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right, and you want to get a motion to go out for bid, MJ? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so as discussed, would anyone like to make the motion to go out for bid for contract, for lawn contracting?
I'll make that motion.
Gail,
Second.
Rob? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. And it is that time. We're into budget preparation. So MJ, you're gonna send around the current budget so that we can start making the current and the recommended budget?
Yes, I will. First, I have to send out a letter to all the department heads. So if you're the liaison, give them a heads up
Okay.
that they'll be getting a letter asking for their wish list, as you might want to call it, for the year. And then I have it written down here. I'll let you all know what the deadlines are.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Make sure you get that to me in Excel again rather than PDF so that we can work it actively as a group.
Okey dokey.
Thank you.
So,
Anything else on budget? So start, for the department heads, start getting with the departments, looking at what you had last year and what you think you're going to need this year so that we can start having those negotiations. I think it worked pretty well last year. I'd like to kind of do it the same way. So you start off meeting with each of your department heads and then I'll follow on meeting with you guys. Okay? Park rules and cleanliness.
oh, that's me. I sent around to the board a mock-up of a sign.
You want me to try
Um,
sharing screen again?
Oh, do you have it?
Maybe. I think I can find it fairly quickly.
For some park rules, and I added in, hey, if you want to let your dog off the leash, you can go to the dog park on Union Street. And then there's I sent around images of the dog cleanup stations. They're the ones, they're very common. I'm sure people have seen them around. They're by a company called Doggy Pot. There's this little green, 9 inches by, and I just think it would be helpful, to take care of the excrement problem in the park. At least it should help.
And Amy, I don't know why I'm not finding it here.
Let me see.
What was the title? Do you remember?
Amy, I liked your signs. I got them.
Thanks. I think it was, let me see.
Did everyone see them? Did all the board members see them?
Signs
I
and
did.
bags from yesterday, I think.
There's my problem. I had sorted it by something. Sorry.
Were you gonna screen share it or?
There we go. Is that the right thing?
That is the right thing.
I hope so. I got too many images open to take a chance showing some, too many tabs open to show something else.
Uh-oh.
There's our park rules.
The camping one was already on the sign and I figured might as well.
I think it's a good idea, Amy.
Thank you, Ricky.
You got my vote.
Cleaning up Athens, one poo at a time.
Well, and then there's the stand,
So my idea was that we could put the clean up the bag dispenser and then the rule sign in just maybe two spots. So I don't want it to be too cluttered. I don't want something here, something over there, like at the entrances to the park.
Yep.
Because, there a lot of people don't know, and we have a lot of new residents. They don't know that you're not supposed to drink in the park. They don't know that you're not supposed to take your dog off the leash. I try to get the message out in newsletters and whatnot, but if it's right there, and then I know from being a dog owner that a lot of times if you don't pick up, it's because you forgot bags. So if they're there, yeah, it would be those. They just don't come with the poles, the posts. So I could.
I think, either on the fence, I think there's places we could do that. I'm comfortable that if we hand these to Anthony with the sign and the dispenser, that he'll find the right way to do it. We can
Well, I was
do
gonna
that.
talk to him about posts specifically to see, because with the signs, like, I would want them to be closer to the entrance, right?
Mhm.
And like, we have the entrance on one end where the sidewalk leads to the boardwalk, and then on the other end by the band shell. So we could cover those two. I think 3 is overkill, but
Small area. Mhm.
Okay. Do we know how much the signs are, Amy?
the signs, I had sent the other link, if you go to the link before this one.
Before.
No, wait,
Nope.
go back. Down. I wish I was, this image right here, middle image has the pricing on it. They're around 30, depending on how many you buy, they're $30 to $32, $34 each. They're not expensive.
How many would you need? 2?
2, I think, would be, so
Two,
we
yeah,
paid
the 2
$30.75 each. It's not a huge expense.
Do we have money in Parks and Rec? Do we have $300 in Parks and Rec, MJ?
Yes, we do.
Okay, would anyone like to make any further discussion on this? Questions or concerns about this?
Oh, it looked great.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Start.
would anyone like to make a motion to authorize the expenditure of up to $300 from the Parks and Rec budget to purchase 2 signs and 2 doggy bag dispensers?
I'll make a motion.
Ricky, was that a second, Rob?
Yes. Yep.
Rob seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carries. So I had Ricky and Rob. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Thanks for doing that.
No problem.
Okay, old business, the fire protection contract and the lease with the town. I've got that sketched out. I've talked to Rob about it, but he's not going to do anything until he's got an attorney. So he and I are talking. I'll keep track of when he gets the attorney and send him everything. I think I think we'll get to an agreement on it. I'd like to do it before Rob leaves, since we've done all the groundwork on it, but he needs to get an attorney in place, is what he's telling me. So working it. All right, so we can go around the room here a little bit. Let's start with Rob.
Quick update on the DPW building. We're down to the finished work now, pretty much. I believe the last time I talked to Anthony about it, I think they were getting the sheetrock sanded down and prepped for painting. But the heat's on, the electric's on. Every meeting I keep saying we're just about ready to move in, and it keeps getting pushed back another week or two. But we're within a few weeks of being in there. They're actually packing up the old building. They've been making dump runs, cleaning out unwanted stuff. They ran a load of scrap to the scrapyard last week, and so they're preparing for the move. So we should be in there hopefully. Now I'm going to say early next month, maybe, since we're already almost done with January.
Let's plan, Rob. Let's talk about anyway. Let's see if we can do sort of a COVID-safe, socially distanced open house.
Yeah,
We'll open it
I've
up, let
been,
people from the public see it. We'll do a little ribbon cutting ceremony.
that's a great idea. I've had a few people ask me questions if we were going to do some sort of ceremony, and I did tell them yes. We just got to figure out how we're going to do it, but that's a great idea what you said. We can do something like that. The auctions, we finally got the titles for the old police car and the fire rescue truck, and I immediately had those listed on Auctions International. I just checked the auctions just a little while ago, right before the meeting started. Looks like they're doing very well. They still have a week and 1 day left. There was just a 2-week auction. So we still have a week and 1 day left on the auctions before the end. I had a couple people call me, ask me questions about the fire truck that we're selling. They seemed like they were interested in bidding on it. And then everything else has been paid for on the last set of auctions I did. Everything's been picked up. The trucks are all gone. The only thing I have left is the guy paid for it, is the box of portable radios from the fire department. But Wayne was good with holding them for a couple of weeks at the firehouse because the guy had to make I think he went out to Colorado for a couple of weeks on business or something, the way he explained it to me. And he asked if we could hold them for a couple of weeks. Wayne was good with that. They're not taking up no space or sitting in the firehouse there, off to the side. So, but everything else is gone. The trucks are all gone. The tractor attachments and that are gone too. The last thing I have is Anthony came to me the other day about a leak detection service he wants to hire to come around with him in the village to look for water leaks.
I saw that. So that's not the sewer leak thing, the smoke check. This is something different.
Yes,
Totally.
yes,
And
this is
what is
for,
it? Is it a pressure check or how does it work?
they have listening devices that we don't have. They go around, they'll actually put microphones on the fire hydrants to listen to see if they can hear water leaks in the system there. They'll check for leaky water shut off valves. They'll find water breaks under the ground if they're there. So he gave me 3 prices. He recommended going with the middle of the road price. He don't recommend going with the cheapest price on a service like this. The high end price is $1,650 per day. And just keep in mind, he said he should be able to wrap this up in a couple of days. He said 2 days, maybe 2.5 tops, probably. The middle of the road price is $1,500 and the cheapest price is $995 per day. They're all per day prices. But he recommends going with the middle of the road price on a service like this, which would be the $1,500 per day. So you're probably roughly looking at about $3,000 to do
And,
this.
and he wants to get the entire village done with that?
Yes. Yeah. So he explained to me.
Yes.
Stefan,
Yeah.
I believe there's grant money available to do this.
That would be great.
Yeah, I sent around a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, an announcement for money to help communities address I&I, specifically to purchase equipment. Well, I think it sounds like what Rob is talking about is leasing equipment or a service, but this is part of the same package of grant opportunities that Delaware is looking at. So I can send that. I mean, I don't know if you feel a need to make this decision tonight, but it's possible. I felt that the I&I equipment makes a lot of sense for the village. And,
Okay.
So just encourage you to consider that perhaps before.
When do they want to do this, Rob? This is probably a spring thing anyway, isn't it?
No, now.
Yeah, I think he seemed like he wanted to do it real soon.
Yeah, Stefan, you sent that, you forwarded that email.
Yeah, I saw
The
the
problem is
date.
they're using more water up to the reservoir and the flow in the sewer plant keeps up. There's leaks somehow getting into the sewer. This machine, they find the leak and they'll tell you how many gallons per hour and how many gallons per day just by finding that leak, what you're losing. I'm telling you, it's awesome.
It just seems like why spend our public village money on this if we can get money from the outside to do it?
Yeah, but how long it's gonna take to get a grant? A year?
It depends. You want to do it?
All right, is the money in the budget?
He's got in a fire hydrant budget. And he said he's got 23,000. He'd like to take out 5,000 to have it done. Quick as possible.
Because we're
to
not
start
doing the
fixing.
hydrants, that's got put on hold, right?
Yes, There's
thing-
23,000 there and he wants to take out 5.
The thing is there's no guarantee we would get approved for the grant anyways. I mean, we could still try and apply for it in the future, but there's no guarantee we're gonna get approved for it anyways.
I mean, I say if it needs to be done now and we have the money in the budget, we can do that and then pursue that grant for something else and then it'll make it whole, you know? If it's for equipment, I mean, I saw what you sent, Josh. There was a conversation about I&I after Stefan sent it to the full board. But if it's equipment, I haven't researched, but if it's equipment based, perhaps it could replace some of that fire hydrant money.
Tal, does this constitute a service? I assume it does, right?
Yes, it does.
That's what I understood. I had heard something about this as well, and it's 3 different, it's services listed that they would
Yeah.
come and do it with
So
him, right?
is there a difference in the equipment between the 3 companies? Rob, do you know?
Well, we're not talking about leasing equipment here.
They-
We're talking about hiring a company to come
You
in.
know, I
and-
understand that. What's the difference between the 3 companies? Do we know that?
Well, there's between the cheapest one and the middle of the road price, you're talking $500 per day
Mhm.
difference. Per day, for difference.
Do they all use the same methods?
That Anthony, you'll have to ask Anthony on that. That I'm not sure of, but he's dealt with these companies before. This is not the first time the village has done this. And he knows there's water breaks there. We got water valves in the village there, and Ricky will tell you, they haven't worked in years, and we pretty much shut
Yeah.
half the village down to fix a water break. You know, grant money's great. I agree with Josh. I mean, you know, if we're able to get it, that'd be great. But, you know, when I talked to Anthony the other day, this sounds more like an urgent matter because they're losing a lot of water. They're seeing the difference out at the water plant now. And, you know, that's why he wants to kind of bring this company in now and do this so they can start working on this stuff. I mean, I'm not opposed at all to getting grant money if we can get it, but there's, you know, we can apply for it, but there's no guarantee we're going to get it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other, you know, it's a fierce competition out there. Who's going to get awarded the grant money?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get the grant for the fire gear. We had to find another way to pay for it, so.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I agree. I have just, I guess, one question and one concern, right? The question is, let's make sure we understand the difference between 1,500 a day and 1,000 a day. When we
I
make.
mean,
those-
if you want to go with the cheapest one, that's fine.
What I'm saying is, we'll authorize the amount of money, just make sure that we're spending it wisely. And if there's no difference, let's go with the cheapest one.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going on Anthony's recommendation. I mean, I kind of,
I like to go with the middle one usually too, when
Yeah.
I'm shopping for something.
I trust Anthony's word. I mean, the guy's gave 30 years of his life to the village, so I kind of respect what he has to say, so.
Is it getting worse? Are we seeing the leaking get worse recently?
Yes, the flow at the water plants keep going up and the flow at the sewer plant keep going up. So somehow there's leaks that are getting into the sewers.
Okay,
And that's why he's got to find and fix them because the flow at the sewer plant don't seem to be going down much at all. And it should be way down this time of the year and it's not, it's way up.
Hmm.
And they're using more water out to the reservoir. Processing a lot more water, about an extra 100,000 gallons a day.
Hmm.
So
I mean,
they're
I-
there. They just gotta find some professional, if we allow it, to find them. Tell us how big they are and take priority to ones we gotta fix, put them in order. And then just go fix them.
okay. The request is for an approval of up to $5,000 to hire a leak check service for the village.
Yep,
Would
I'll make
anyone
the
like to make
motion.
that motion?
I'll do it.
Amy,
I'll second it.
Rob, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carries. All right, anything else, Rob?
No, that's all I have for tonight.
Ricky?
Yes, I called a meeting with Joe Myers and Seth Mann out to the reservoir Monday morning. And we were talking a great deal about the phone system. And the alarms don't work half of the time. They come, they fix them. It lasts a few days. Now, the two landlines, one works and one don't work. And when the people on, the only way they can tell when there's no water is when people start calling. And that's not the right way to do it. You gotta have a level alarm, low and high level alarm. So I talked to him and we come up with a price. This way we could do away with the landline, two landlines. $3,000 initial cost, $300 per year. And they have to have one cell phone line, which is $50 a month. But the money we save getting rid of the two landlines out there is gonna pay for this in a year. Because the $2,000 budgeted every year for two phone lines out there. And I do believe it's a very, very necessity to have out there. We need it.
Yeah, I think Seth brought it up at the last meeting, right? Yeah. Can't have no alarm.
It only lasts so long and then it breaks again.
Yeah.
And the last time Anthony got a call midnight, there's no water out there because the alarm didn't go up. The alarms wasn't hooked up. They were broke from the line, phone line. This way we could do away with that whole line system. It'd be a cell phone system. The initial cost is $3,000 and $50 a month for a cell phone line and $300 a year for the service, evidently.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about this last time. I think the only question we had was whether or not we get the cellular service, what our confidence level is that a cellular service is going to work out there.
Well, he says we could get a cell service out there.
Okay.
And my advice is we don't have any options. This is the way you got to go. I hate
I
to say
agree.
it.
MJ, do we have money in the water budget, improvements budget? MJ, you still with us?
I think your mic's muted. Oh, okay.
Hi, yeah, I did look at the budget last time after we discussed this. There's not a lot of money in the buildings and grounds line item, but there was another one. I don't have it in front of me. I meant to bring my water budget home, but I didn't. But there is money there. There's also the capital reserve that you could utilize for that type of thing. I don't, you'd have to talk to Tal about how to go about that as far as like having a permissive referendum resolution or what to take money out of there. Because it seems like it's kind of like a capital improvement to the building as well. I don't know, Tal.
It'd be very simple. You just have to do a resolution and make it subject to a permissive referendum, which just means that, we put a notice in the paper that says, hey, we made this resolution and you and the public have 30 days to pass a petition to put it to a vote. If you don't do it, then it's automatically binding and we can proceed after 30 days.
I have a question. MJ, there's a budget line that says water admin, and in both the 18-19 and 19-21 budgets, nothing was spent on it. And this year it has a $4,000 item. I'm not sure what that.
Yeah, no, that's salaries. So
Oh, okay.
eventually at the end, yeah, you can't use that. But there is another line item.
Yeah,
that
there's
I
a
did
plant
notice.
repairs and maintenance line item, MJ.
Yes, that might be it right there.
$10,000 in it. My copy that I have here is a little outdated, but I don't think we've spent near that.
No, that might be it, because I did notice there was one that seemed
Yeah,
appropriate
plant
for
repairs and
taking that
maintenance,
money
which
out.
sounds appropriate for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that sounds good.
So unless my budget is way out of date that I've got a copy of it sitting here, why don't we go ahead and use that line item, plan to use that line item, the plant repairs and maintenance line item,
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
okay? Any other discussion or comment on this?
Nope.
This has bitten us more than once.
Yes.
The water system loves to fail on Christmas Day. Okay, would
And
anyone
I
like
think it's
to make a motion to approve the expenditure of the $3,000 for the cellular dialer plus the subscription of $300 a year to improve the alarm system or to?
I
update
make
the
a
alarm
motion.
system? Ricky,
Yes.
I'll second it.
Amy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you, Ricky.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Ricky?
No, that's all I had.
Gail?
Okay, supposedly the speed thing should be back this week. 'Cause they
This-
sent it out Monday. So,
I told, yeah, I mean, you saw my email. We
Yeah.
had it for about a month and then it's been gone for 3 months with repairs and they didn't give us a loaner. Are we
Yep.
sure this is the company we want to go with?
I don't know, did we already pay them?
Yeah, we had it for a month.
I know.
Okay, so long as we get it back this week, if it's gonna keep going, let's rethink this and have a long talk with that company.
Yeah, so I told Roger to let me know as soon as it's in, so I'll let you know also.
Yep.
Okay?
And right on North Franklin.
Okay. Donna Johnson from the Cultural Center emailed me. They reviewed our lease and they would like to fine tune it. There's a couple of typos and a couple of areas that are unclear. They're going to be going after some grants. So I told her I would meet with her, find out what they want to change, and then I can get back to you. Would that be a problem?
No, that's fine. We've already signed it though, right?
Fine with me.
Yeah, I don't know when the lease is up. We might have. Yeah, we did sign it.
I thought, did we extend it already, Al, or no?
How good is
We
it?
did.
How long is it good for?
I think
we
it's like
signed
10 years.
Yeah.
Didn't we go with 5 years?
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
If it was 5, it was a 5 and 5 option. I thought it was 10 total.
I don't think I have that.
It didn't sound like it was major changes. So I don't know if we can amend it or not.
The last version I have is for 10 years, and then they could renew it for 2 consecutive 5-year terms.
Okay.
So it currently runs out June 30th of 2030. We can always modify it. I mean, just because we've done it now, we can just simply vote to modify it as long as everybody's okay with it.
Okay. See what they want, send it to Tal, and he can let us know if A, if he's comfortable with it, and B, if we need to vote on it if he is.
Okay. And I think that's all I have. Oh, no, I'm meeting with Josh on Friday to go over the electric car charging station. So I'll be able to have all that information for you at the next meeting.
Excellent. Good. Good. What did we decide? I know we talked about it. How are we looking for reimbursement for that? How does that work?
We got the grant from the Community Foundation.
Right?
And then I believe that there's grant money available. I don't know. We can research that, which Josh and I will go over.
I meant when somebody charges their car, do they pay for it?
Yes,
Okay. And that comes to the village?
yes.
Okay. All right. And the Stewart House, let me know they were interested in one down by the river too. So they wanted to know how we had done it and what the options were down there. So I told them I didn't have much information on it yet. So we'll talk about that next week, next meeting, and I'll get back to them.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Amy?
Just a couple of other things. I heard from a group that is interested in starting an Athens community garden that everybody could work on and get food. And their main goal was to try to distribute the food to the food pantry, but they're not sure if during COVID they'd be able to do that, but they're looking to get started and they're just looking for space. So I asked that I put it out there if there's any village land that we could do with that, Nancy.
Yeah, at the Friends of Athens meeting, Ed Bloomer offered some land on his farm.
Yeah.
So
that was- Yeah,
Sarah was
Sarah
gonna-
had said that.
Yeah,
She was still looking to have options, and something in the village walkable would be cool. Jane?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that, Amy, that the optimal thing would be something where younger people, anybody, but that it was more of a central in the village, really a community, an ease of community.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I keep meaning to speak to Sarah about how much exactly are we talking?
I
I keep
know.
leaving that question out. So I think that might have some impact
Yeah.
on our availability in the village itself, but it speaks for itself. It would be so lovely to have it more accessible.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there too. If there's any village-owned land, or if anybody knows somebody that might want to donate space
There-
that's more central.
There's a great parcel, the one behind the village building. If the village sells the building to the town, then the original purpose for the village to own that parcel behind the building, as I understand it, was if there was ever a desire by the village to expand. So if the town does buy the building and isn't interested in buying that piece of land, it could be used for that.
They
Wasn't
do
that
intend
piece-
to take that. they
Yeah, I
do
was
intend
gonna
to
say,
take
wasn't that
piece of
part of
land.
their,
Yeah.
that's why they're dragging their feet, right?
One
Anyway.
holdups.
Just one of many.
I'll say if they find a piece of land somewhere, I'll till it for 'em. I got a machine.
Thanks.
I'll come down and till it for 'em.
Okay, I'll let
Thanks.
Sarah know.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's awesome. Okay, so just an initial conversation about that. Give it some brainstorming. And the other thing was the building at 133 North Washington. Stefan and I had spoken a little bit. I have a couple of people that might be able to help us find something. They just wanted to have access, and we had talked about possibly Saturday seeing it, and I didn't get to follow up, so I just wanted to see if 11 a.m. was a workable time for that.
That's the building we saw.
Let me verify.
Okay,
I'll let you know tomorrow. They're usually pretty quick to respond to me.
cool. And that's it. Everything else I had, we already talked about.
Sal?
The only thing I have to add is just a quick update for the sale of the DPW building, the old one. The title report has been ordered. We expect it probably in about a week to 10 days, assuming it's clear, and I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. We'd be free to close once we're out of there,
Okay. Still looking at end of February as our close date?
probably.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
MJ?
A few things. We have, let's see. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here tonight. The intervenor funding for the Hecate, is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting bills in for that, so I need a contact person or number or email in order to get the money back for the bills that we're paying for that.
I will send that to you tomorrow.
Okay, and does anybody know of any reason that the Van Loon house, the little yellow house there that looks over the river,
Yep.
the electric bill is really big there, large all of a sudden. So if anybody has any idea why that would be so high?
I will talk to those guys who are running it.
Okay.
I have seen the lights on
And
at night a couple of times. I'll talk to them.
All righty, and code enforcement, if they could notify the state, because we're getting they do like a quarterly report that they have to submit to the state code enforcement. So I forwarded that to the code enforcement people. And if you could just follow through to make sure they got it and make sure they follow up with the state so the state knows who's taking that over.
Got it?
And the heat in the office in the community center, the village clerk's office. We've spoken about that before. We've had issues. We had 2 radiators in that room years ago. One of them was a baseboard that ran across the whole side of the room there. That got taken out about 4 or 5 years ago. And the idea back then was to get a price on it and to install it. And it was like $4,000. And at that point, they were going to work with the town to fix the building. So
Yeah.
they waited until they had some kind of agreement with that. So of course, we never got the baseboard fixed and now the other radiator is going. So that room really doesn't have any heat. We've got like 3 or 4 space heaters going there. And so we had Bottini come in and give it a look again, but he kind of laughed at me and just said, this is shot. You really need to do something a little bit more because it's on the end of the system, that radiator. And I don't know anything about boilers and how they work, but he said that radiator is just pretty much shot. So it's been working a little bit, but it's something to think about because it's pretty cold in there. And last week the heat went out in the building in the morning. So they came and thank God, they came pretty quickly. So it got fixed, but it's just one thing to add to the whole town village building scenario. And
Point, I'm inclined to just take care of our own business in the building. 'Cause I certainly don't feel like it's going to be moved out on quickly. So if we need to get it repaired, let's get it repaired.
yeah, I just don't know because Bottini is our fuel guy and he's not interested in fixing it all. So
He's not
If it-
interested in fixing it. What about, will he
That's-
run I mean, the nice thing about radiant heat is it's not that difficult to run a line. So rather than keep it at the end of the line where it is, plug it and run a new line to a new radiator off the existing boiler, and it's not going to be cheap, but it's not a whole lot worse than just repairing the boiler. The radiator.
does anybody have any idea who would do that? It's a steam boiler too.
He
so-
won't do it?
No, they don't want to get into that. No. That's what he told. He laughed at me 3 years ago and I wanted to price on, getting it to be more reliable. And he was just like, this thing is a dinosaur,
Can we put that out to bid, Tal? I mean, that's something we could put out via the normal bid process for radiator repair of the office.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing would be the specs themselves. I certainly wouldn't know how to do that, but we'd need somebody to spec it and tell us what to put in the bid itself.
Call Jason.
Can I offer something?
Yeah.
You all remember, this is just a suggestion for the board to consider. You remember that a year and a half ago, the village became a clean energy community. We got $30,000 for that. And then the clean energy community program kind of went away for a while. Well, I just got an email today that they're starting clean energy community round 2, and there's tens of thousands of dollars. And there are a variety of things that municipalities are eligible for, including clean energy upgrades or more energy efficient upgrades. So I was going to discuss that with the Conservation Advisory Council, and we can loop our liaison Gail in. But I did want to tell you that, and I haven't looked in depth into that, but it just occurs to me that if you wait to get specs and put it out to bid and collect bids, it could easily be March before anything is done. And then you only maybe have 2 or 3 weeks left of this year's winter. So if you aren't, and I really don't like the idea of the people that work for us in the village, being cold, but I don't know, it sounds like even moving as fast as we legally can, it would be another month or month and a half. So maybe wait until, get a little more
So
information.
send me
about-
what you've got on the clean energy, Josh. Let me
Mhm.
take a look at that and what's opening up.
Okay,
In the meantime, MJ, let's call Jason. Let's see if he'll
Okay.
help us. If he may charge us a little bit, but he'll be able to take a look and tell us what the most practicable solution potentially is, so that we can put something together to go out to bid.
Okay.
Okay.
And yep, and the last thing I had, I was just listening to the conversation about the water leaks in the village. And just not for nothing, but in the past, if that vendor that you're talking about is leak detectors,
Yep.
I don't know if it is, I don't know anything about the three prices, but they've done work for the village before, and have done a really good job of finding leaks in the village. Over the years, probably every 4 or 5 years, it's kind of a maintenance thing, since I've been here anyway, is to hire them or rural water to come in and go through the village and find those little leaks. And in the past, it's saved us enormous amounts of money, because that's also treated water
Yeah.
that you're leaking. That's just my input on that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
All right. I only have a couple of
MJ says
things.
something.
Wait, you know what? I have one more question. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Who's in charge of taking down the Christmas tree?
You are.
I'll do it tomorrow. No. I
I
don't-
would hope that the same, because they hired a company to put it up, right?
Well, yeah, Stone Creek did the lights, and Douglas Koch was down there. But should I like contact
Carol,
Carol and Lois and see
the
about that?
Carols.
It's going on a little too long now. I'm all for the joy, but like enough. We got to move on.
Yeah. Do you mind reaching out to one of the Carols or Lois? And
What is it, Wayne?
you're muted, Wayne.
Yep. All right. So the Christmas tree is supposed to come down next week.
Okay.
We were asked to leave it. The DPW always takes the Christmas tree down. We take all the lighting out and give it to Carol. We were asked to keep it up till the first week of February. So I think Anthony plans on taking it down next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
Problem solved.
Are you happy, Amy?
I'm pleased. Yes.
Okay.
It's just on all the time.
Humbug.
MJ,
Okay,
I had
sorry,
sent you
go-
something
proceed.
about getting an exterminator into the building as well.
What's wrong? What do we got?
The request came from the court, that they've got a mouse problem.
Get
If
a
it's
cat.
not too bad, a $3 trap usually problem.
Anybody got a cat?
MJ,
I got 4. I'll send one down.
MJ, you still there?
Can we put some traps out though?
Of course.
I mean, that's what, we had a couple of mice and we put some traps out. Like, can we try that first or
Yeah,
no?
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm, all right,
Put a little peanut butter on them. They like peanut
Yeah.
butter.
They get
exactly.
stuck there for longer. If you put cheese, they just run off.
Who does that, MJ?
Larry or Anthony or Wayne. I'll find somebody, don't worry.
Okay.
I've got some mouse traps.
Just an update, we talked about vaccines, COVID vaccines in the last meeting, and trying to get more involved. There was a vaccination center in Athens. There were very few vaccines available. And that is kind of the MO right now. I spoke to both Sean Groden, I spoke to Ed Bloomer. We got a total of 400 vaccines, I think, for the county. And there's not a whole lot more coming right now. But the net of it is, if you're in Group 1B, if you're 65 or over, get registered. Get on the website and get registered. Even if it tells you your next appointment's March 1st in SUNY, take it, get registered, because that way, when they are coming, if I get notified again I got notified on Wednesday that they were going to have a Thursday station in Athens. We'll get people out there. Now, they dissuaded me because they told me it was only congregated living, which meant Rivertown Apartments. However, they have to throw them out if they don't use them. And it turned out that it was the security guard working there called people he knew to make sure they used the vaccines rather than calling me
No, I don't think
to get them
so.
used. So I am trying to make sure that in the future, we have a better way of doing that. And the net of that is get registered if you're in that group. And as soon as it's coming, I will let you know. And even if he's telling me that, no, they've got them all taken, what I'll tell you is go by there at around 6 o'clock because they won't, so they use them on the appropriate people.
What would your Mr. Mayor, what would your method be though to notify? What do you mean by that?
I don't have a good answer. So right now what I'm doing is I used Al Ram to get out through the senior center. So
Sure.
all of his contacts that are over 65, he's got, and he's reaching out to try to get them registered.
But that would be
I-
folks that are affiliated that use the services of the center?
That he's got their numbers, yes. What I'll talk to Amy, we'll figure out how we get something out
For
on
the other old
Facebook as
people?
well when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, I mean, we're registered, for example, and next Tuesday, we're driving 3 hours to Stony Brook to get vaccinated because that was an appointment we could get.
Yeah,
And we have
Yeah,
another
and-
friend driving to Binghamton tomorrow.
Those are folks that live here.
And these are all Athens Village residents, all
I
over
got-
65, some of whom have comorbidities, but none of whom are involved in the senior center.
okay.
I got my husband an appointment at SUNY Albany for April 12th.
Like
Great.
yeah.
So,
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
as they come up, as soon as I find out, I'll get with Amy, we'll get it out however we can. I'm gonna stop,
Do you want me to just put a message out that you should make sure you register if you're over 65 because these things can come up at the last minute?
that's probably a good idea, yeah.
And folks really just need to be registered, regardless of how you may be able to, utilize the senior center. It's, people just really have to know to get registered.
Yep.
Or they can't get anywhere,
Yeah.
And you would have access to the registrations that New York State is taking?
Nope, I don't, but they do. So when you show up, if you're not registered, they will only give it to people who are registered, was their story.
Right.
But
We don't.
apparently there were people who got it who weren't registered because they were gonna throw them out.
Wow.
Well, that's
So,
outrageous.
but they won't take you via appointment if you're not registered.
Right.
If there's a pop-up in Athens, if we can get it out there and get people up there, we'll do that. And I'm not in the loop as much as I'd like to be with it. I have to call and actively chase down when they're coming.
Yeah.
But we'll do everything we can to be proactive to get it out there to people.
Okay,
It's,
just one
it's
more thing,
frustrating.
in regards to what sounds really at best unfortunate, whoever, if it's true that there was a security guard that was calling people they knew, that's the kind of stuff that needs to be reported too. I mean, there's just tons about that.
That isn't true. I don't believe that that's true.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's true,
What I heard was that people were asking if there's any left. He did tell them yes. And then other people started to call.
Sure,
It
sure.
was not the security guard that called.
Okay,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I got an email from Casey because she had gotten a phone call.
Hmm.
But I didn't get the email till 7:30 at night.
Well, it's all very troubling because
Just
people are
make
very
sure-
anxious.
Her husband,
Make sure we get,
her husband was there who actually worked with the security guard, but,
He's a CL, that's why.
and he's a correction officer. That's why he got the appointment.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
All right. So I will continue to try to be as proactive as they'll let me be with that. And as soon as we hear something, we'll get it out there.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about 133 North Washington. If you know of anyone who's interested, let me know. I can get people in. I have a meeting with Columbia Green Community College, they seemed interested. I've got a meeting with the president and the provost next week. Vaccines, exterminator. And then the only other thing real quickly is Friends of Athens has agreed to fund the village historian, Jonathan, to modernize our walking tour and put it out there as a phone app. So I think that has the potential to be a really good thing. It's a geo-referenced phone app that started at the local restaurants and that kind of thing, and something to hopefully attract people in and get them to the restaurants and whatnot. But I just thought that was a great idea. That is all that I have. So record meeting here before 8 o'clock. All right. That's all I've got. Anyone, any other last minutes from the board? Otherwise, anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Vicky? Can I get a second?
I'll second
Amy,
it.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Everyone.